So Laura, so you were in the position of counseling some of the world's biggest brands for many years. It's not quite what you do now, but looking at the situation in terms of some suggestions for brands, some best practices, some guidance for them at this time, what would you say?
You're right, Andy. I was in the middle of my second year as global CEO of Starcom MediaVest Group when we entered the Great Recession, the financial crash of 2008, 2009. And I learned an awful lot. It was the billion-dollar experience that you wouldn't pay a nickel for. But in some respects, that experience taught me a lot for the rest of my years at the helm at SMG, as well as teaching me a lot now. I think a couple of the big learnings that stand out for me from the crash of 08, 09 to now, how do we take those lessons and use them for today's leaders is a couple things. I think number one, I think the tendency when your business is under pressure and you know that the bottom's dropping out a bit and you don't know where you're going to land, you're like in an elevator, going down the floors a little bit faster than you want. I think the tendency there is just to hold on and probably cut or reduce as much as you possibly can to lighten the load. And what I learned watching some of our greatest clients as well as for our own business, those companies that continued to invest in their roadmap, continued to innovate their product offerings, their services, continued to do what they could to invest in not just people power, but capabilities around their talent, actually were better positioned and exited the crisis of 08, 09 in much, much better shape than those who did not. Now, it's a tricky balance to be able to do that. You can't always invest in your business. Look at Marriott, look at Hyatt, look at American Airlines, Southwest Airlines. These businesses have been decimated. Retail, very, 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 very tough environment. So in cases like that, you have to, understand you have to do what you can do. But for other businesses, either B2B or B2C or B2B2C, there is some opportunity here in this crisis. And, the best thing you can do is continue to define the one or two priority areas, invest in your roadmap, and try to read the trends and try to be predictive of where consumers and customers will be and what they need through the crisis and coming out of it, and match your product lineup and your marketing services to that, and you'll have a stronger return to growth. That was certainly the case for the SMG business that I led. It was definitely the case for many marketers that we worked with at the time. I think another key learning for leaders today is recognize that consumers are way out in front of technology and way out in front of companies at this time. They're adapting extremely fast. And they will actually define product use cases even faster, or sometimes in a more of a hybrid way than the products and the services are meant to be used. Look at Zoom conferencing. This is an enterprise-based Zoom video play, and all of a sudden they've seen their usage and their downloads skyrocket, not only in part because they made the service free to education and schools, but because people who have used it in their work life are like, hey, I can use it in my life and stay connected. And that's an important lifeline for me when I'm so isolated, staying at home. So consumers will adapt. And I think the successful companies and people will have their fingers on the pulse of trends. They'll watch how consumers are willing to leave behind the old world to get to the new world. They'll watch how they'll adapt. I think this is an enormously creative time for companies and people to look for the glimmers of light and the glimmers of hope. And I personally believe that in a position where people are so isolated and feeling so alone, there's a huge opportunity for tools and companies that tap into creative resourcing and creative tool making and creativity in general. And I think that's a huge area to keep an eye on as we emerge from this crisis.